New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment. Inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, and welcome to
Rockin The Love. Oh, that was good. That's Robin.
That's Gil.
And we're here every Wednesday with you, talking about things like relationship, the joy of relationship, and our relationship to ourselves, the world, and everything else. And today is no exception. We're excited to be back with you today. And what's our topic today?
Well, thanks for asking. Today on Rockin' the Love, we're diving into abundance.
Oh,
what is abundance? Not the buzzword, not the manifesto Mercedes fantasy, but the deep soul level truth of living in flow with life. We're going to discuss all kinds of things, and that abundance isn't really about having more, but about awakening to the infinite source that we're already connected to. I was just trying to tell my husband that when he was talking about paying the bills. So we are actually kicking off a month-long exploration on abundance, and we're going to be using the book 5 Gifts of Prosperity by Diane Harmony, and just looking at all different aspects, but how gratitude, generosity, faith, forgiveness, release, all of those things open us up to a life that feels rich in many dimensions. Thank you, Rocky Mountain Shay, from showing up and being here amidst the absurdity of it all.
Oh my goodness, isn't it though?
That in and of itself sounds like a show topic. The absurdity of it all. Anyway, we're glad you're here, and we are glad you have weathered the storm to get here. So, before we do that, we're just going to talk a little bit about our week, share some good news, and see what's happening out there. Please, if you're joining us, put in the chat where you're joining us from, and, let us know one good thing going on in your life, or anything else you want us to know. So, how's your week? What's going on for you this week?
Speaking of weathering the storm, it feels like we've been doing that like every day here.
Right? Where are you all, and what kind of weather are you having? Because it seems to be absurd everywhere. Like, I was talking to people in the Bay Area, and it's hot. And I was talking today in somewhere in Valencia, California, out by Magic Mountain. It was 112.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 112. And then there's the humidity that's happening everywhere. Can we get an Ohio weather report out there? But yeah, it's crazy because we're like, it's so hot, it's 90s, it's 100, and then all of a sudden it starts pouring down rain and storming here in the desert. 77 and windy in Ohio.
We had
nice.
a good 2-3 hours of lightning and thunder and all that last night. Not that much rain the whole time, but there was a whole lot of activity for quite a while. Yeah, and we hadn't seen a lot of those this year. I mean, the last 2 weeks I think have been the most I've seen in quite a long while. But Friday, oh my gosh, we had a huge episode that was just incredible. and it was just wild. You look outside, and it looks like drops are hitting the ground like the sizes of glasses of water, each one. It's just like,
Yeah, it's kind of
crazy.
wild.
Crazy.
Kind of wild. Yeah, so other than that, I think the week has been pretty good. I think, things are looking up.
The weeds are growing in the front yard. Things are going well. Things are popping up everywhere.
Okay, but the weeds aren't growing in the backyard, and the washing machine that's been sitting in our backyard for over a year has been moved out. Dun, dun, dun.
We got rid of all of our spare washers and dryers. That was a good move. Good move. So,
See?
and we actually sold them for a little bit of money and sent them off to someone that will probably repair them. And who knows, you may buy them yourselves later on. So because they're really not bad. We just require somebody who knows what the heck they're doing and has the time and energy to do it. So there you go.
Oh, wow. Shay says that they're in a drought and the bears are in town.
Wow.
The food chain is whacked because of an early spring and late freeze after that. Yeah, there's a lot of, mountain lion type thing going on here. Not necessarily in our neighborhood, but in the desert.
And we do have the whole bear thing that happens up near the mountains. It's toward the East Mountains is more where I've heard about it, but it happens here too. It's kind of crazy. Oh, well, okay. So all of that, and what are we saying when we mention all that? We're really saying, isn't it amazing the amount of diversity and wildlife and all the stuff that's happening? I mean, we sometimes sound like we're whining. Oh, it rained and it was wet. Yeah, but we need the rain. We need the wet.
So what you're saying is it's an abundance of good news.
It's an abundance of good news. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all perspective. It's all good. It's all fine. It's just, it's so interesting the way it's happening. Like, remember, I know this is going to age me, but remember the days when it was hot in the summer and cold in the winter.
No, I lived in LA. I don't remember those days.
Well, but yes, you did. I mean, yes, you do. There was still a differentiation of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't East Coast cold,
right.
But, and people used to talk about leaves changing like that didn't happen in LA. That happened in LA. The leaves would change when you were in September when you were going to school, not in August.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But you know what I mean? There were these things and seasons and things. And now there aren't. It's like there's flooding everywhere, and it's summer. You know what I mean? It's like Alice in Wonderland. We're upside down. We're topsy turvy. We don't know where we are. Okay, that's just my editorial on this.
I was going to say thank you for that.
Yes.
We'll be moving on to the actual show here soon. All right. So what do we got now? We got some good news to share with people.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay, well, I have some good news coming to you from Trinidad and the islands thereof. Between May 12th and 26th of this year, at one hospital, the Seventh-day Adventist Community Hospital, they performed 3,000 surgeries, eye surgeries. And they were mostly cataract surgeries or another thing that's commonly called surfer's eye. But it creates a growth on your eye. It has to be removed so you can see again better. But these are all people who haven't had this done, and they actually had doctors. They developed a procedure, a system to do the procedure, which allowed them to do like 450 procedures in a day.
Wow.
So it was insane, I guess. And actually the hardest part was dealing with who had been prepped for surgery or had the proper tests and stuff prior, and who hadn't, because they had to get through all the ones that didn't have that information done, because most of the people were coming in with very little history of healthcare. And that was the part that took the most time. was getting them prepped for surgery. But it was between the Seventh-day Adventist Church, their hospital, and some other nonprofit organizations and some doctors who volunteered their time, and they were able to support 3,000 different eye surgeries.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And and as you know, Robin, and we know friends of ours who've had cataract surgery, it's like life-changing. and it's relatively, I mean, I can see how, it's a simple thing. I'm sure it's not cheap to do necessarily, but it's a simple thing. And it's quick recovery and people can see almost immediately. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So,
I think the thing that always amazes me about those stories is what's possible.
Right.
Just what's possible via generosity or people thinking outside the box or, all of those things, as opposed to, I think I'm going to speak in terms of the United States, we generally hear about what's not possible.
Right.
From that perspective, the news from that perspective.
Well, and I think the problem is, so much of, everything is based on profit. And how much money can you make from people that don't have money? And the answer is not much. And the other side of it is, it's like, but if you have people willing to volunteer, why not give them the services? Because they're not going to show up and ever pay you because they don't have the money to do that. So you're not losing any income. You're just losing some time to help people, And anyway, that's my humble opinion. And
yeah,
that was my good news story.
That's
what you
fantastic. Well, my story started actually off of the coast of California, where for the last 15 years there's been this fishing vessel named Midnight Hour that it's been just sitting on the ocean floor. It's just sunken wreckage, and it became this tangled abandonment of fishing nets and, all the kind of drifting stuff in the current that trapped debris and all of that stuff and marine wildlife. And so divers on a water mission to collect these ghost nets, they're called, and remove the threat to California wildlife. And so they joined on this partnership that's been going on all around the world, recovering tons of tangled nets and some of the fibers and plastics. And the good news is they've also partnered with Hyundai, and these plastics and fibers are being separated for recycling that become new floor mats in Hyundai cars. And yeah, it's crazy what we can do.
Floor mats from the floor of the ocean.
Yeah, so now after all these years, they're bringing this mission to America because they've been working together in Europe. Hyundai and the corporations have been working in Europe and Korea. And under another partner called Ghost Diving, the divers were able to cut loose the netting at the Catalina wrecking site and bring it up for recycling or disposal. And they've recovered more than 1,300 tons of nets have been removed.
1,300 tons.
1,300 tons have been removed. And and debris. And Hyundai began supporting the nonprofit back in 2021. And they orchestrated this by recycling the material to make the mats for the cars, because they get like suitable kind of nylon material, gets regenerated and recycled into a type of yarn. And that's turned into new products, including the floor mats. And they've been being sold in Europe in all, Santa Fe and the Ionic and the different cars in Stir. And that's it. They've just been pulling up all the debris that's been being collected for years. And Hyundai reported that across the 10 countries where the partnerships now operate, that it's helped recover more than 320 tons of marine litter.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So now they're partnering with an initiative called From Sea to Shore, which includes a beach cleanup with the Hyundai employees at the Huntington State Beach in California, and it's called Ocean Heroes, and it educates workshops for kids and local Boys and Girls Club, and they get to connect with different parts of the same story and teach them about removing litter from the coast and what they recover, and inspiring kids to be able to understand and protect marine life. So it's not only cleaning, but it's also inspiring everybody to remember, that trash pulled from the ocean doesn't have to remain trash forever, as well as not to make trash.
I was going to say, trash doesn't have to go in the ocean necessarily.
Yeah, but I think I think it's super cool that to be, because a lot of times what we don't see, we forget about, and so just knowing that it's equally as important when we don't see it. So that's the story. That's what I got.
Wow. I just read an article about somebody that normally they do all kinds of dive surveillance, and they found kids' tennis shoes at the bottom of the ocean near a reef that was getting sick. And they realized there were lots and lots of them, and they started checking and following the trail and eventually found a container. And it led to the fact that these shoes actually had illegal and dangerous products put in them instead of the foam that should have been put in them. And they dumped the container in the ocean to get rid of it. And so now people have been prosecuted and all that stuff. It's like, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a whole different kind of good news story.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty incredible. But anyway, an abundance of bad tennis shoes.
Yeah, that's right. All little kids, cute, very cute shoes.
Crazy. All right, so we're going to talk about abundance when we get back. What is abundance? Put it in the chat. Let us know, because there's all different takes on it and all different kinds of abundance. Name some spiritual name some abundances for me in the chat, like spiritual abundance.
What is abundance mean to you? What does abundance mean to you? What does abundance look like to you?
Yeah, let us know. We'll give you a few minutes to think about it because we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
The Heal Your Life Workshop Leader and Life Coach Certification Training, approved personally by Louise Hay, is coming to San Diego. Facilitated by expert trainers Anna Milkick and Christy Dixon. This 3-month training includes multiple sessions on Zoom and 10 days in beautiful San Diego. It will change your life and enable you to help others transform their lives.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents A Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.
Hello, welcome back to Rockin The Love. I'm Robin.
And I'm Gil, and we are your hosts for this adventure into... I was waiting for you to say the title.
Oh. I'm like, okay, you go. Abundance. It's not just about money.
It's not.
So abundance is one of those topics that sounds simple, but when you crack it open, it becomes really a whole ecosystem of human experience, right? And so we're going to talk about it today and just begin to break it down a little bit and just see when we stop treating abundance just like a buzzword, but really as a state of consciousness,
Yeah, I think the tendency is to think of abundance as your vending machine kind of thing almost. It's like, oh, abundance, that means I get stuff. And that's a very simplistic form of abundance perhaps. But it's not the reality of what abundance, I mean, if we really look at what abundance is, it's overwhelming. The abundance of all things in this universe is crazy.
Right. So let's not make it overwhelming.
Well, I didn't mean overwhelming in that way.
Got it. Yeah, because it, even in the way you said it, it's, I mean, yes, it's not more stuff. It's really about our lived experience of enoughness and flow and alignment and just how it shows up in our life. So when we can start to understand abundance as a practice and not just like a possession or a way of doing something to get something, then I think it'll be different. So what does abundance really mean? What does abundance mean to you?
Abundance, for me, it's all of that which supplies my life, all of that which exists in the universe, not only to supply my life, but for the good of all life. And it's everywhere. It really is. I mean, there's an abundance of water we had in the last few days.
But we say there's a drought.
Right, because we look at it often in the short term. We look at things in short blocks. And in short blocks, the water situation is very dire. It appears that way. But that doesn't mean there's not an abundance of water somewhere. Right. It's happening. It's in the ocean. It's in the ice caps. It's in a lot of places.
So it becomes really abundance kind of as capacity and not as quantity. I mean,
That is not a bad way to put it. That's pretty good. I like that.
Thank you,
I like that.
Reverend Gil. But you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't, just because we don't feel it right here doesn't mean it's not out there.
Right. And I think that concept of us tending to want to put a number on things, to be able to point to it right now and go, look, this is abundance. This is abundant. There's a lot of this. And sometimes it's not that simple. You know, there's ebbs and flows and you know, there's different kinds of things, you know.
So speaking of that, so what would you say, let's name, what are different types of abundance? There's obviously financial abundance, spiritual abundance, emotional abundance. What else?
Shay talks about health and community and friendship. Those are all areas where we have abundance. Right, we don't always want to manifest things that have to do with stuff. Often it's more about how we live our lives and what our lives look like. And when we look around, do we see the abundance that exists? Do we see all that is present in our lives?
Well, that's a whole different topic, but in line with abundance, there's also creative abundance.
Yep.
You know, there's also, you kind of said it, but I'm going to say it in a different way, relational abundance, like when you're looking for a job or when you're looking for work, or, you know, people falling into your, like, doors opening for possibility kind of abundance. And then my favorite, time
abundance. The abundance of time.
It's a big deal. You know, I mean, that's, you know, the spaciousness piece, that's your freedom from urgency, you know, right? I mean, that's what we talk about constantly, you know. I mean, and in the general, we talk about, you know, there's not enough time. I don't have enough time. I need more time to do this. I need, you know. So, I mean, I think that's one of, I would say it's right up there. If we were doing the top three, it's right up there with, you know, financial and probably health.
Well, and what does an abundance of time mean? You know, I mean, we have 24 hours in a day. We have 365 days in a year. We have, you know, where is there potentially a lack of abundance in terms of time, except in our desire to do something within some limited time frame, right? Because there's always more time coming. It's always happening.
Is there? I mean, but we don't know if we're going to have it.
Who's going to have it?
The general, whoever has more time coming.
Because we might die, we might get sick, we might. What do you mean?
Yeah, because we might die, we might get sick, but the time may run out because we needed to get it done by a certain time, or, you know, it's our own thing, but there's the constraints we put on it. Shay said social capital. Can you say more about that, Shay? Or do you get that?
All that stuff means absolutely nothing without health and love. Social capital.
Oh, you mean like what we? Oh, did
I
that go with
think
that?
might be related to that.
Okay, got it.
However, I mean, I would say social capital is the connections we have with people. Some of what you were just describing. Those connections.
Yeah. Okay.
Relational. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Shay. Can't you just say what Robin was saying? Come on. Give me a little something. For those of you who don't watch all the time, Shay is partial to Gil.
Oh, she is not.
She is, but she calls me on the phone. So there.
Ha.
So anyway, all good. But there is an abundance of love coming from Shay, so we're good.
It's an abundance of love everywhere.
Okay. And we're back. So, yeah, so there's a lot of different ways of looking at abundance and a lot of different areas.
So, what is it that allows us to recognize abundance, to embrace the abundance that exists in our lives?
Great question. And I'm going to shift that question a little bit and ask you, because it relates to that question, which type of abundance do you personally overflow with? Or which one do you hoard like a dragon? Which one do you think you don't have enough of, or whatever that is?
I think the place where I feel most abundant is when what I feel is if I have the most abundance flowing through me is when I am in that compassionate relational space. And I can let it happen. And I can be there and I cannot worry about anything else. I cannot be concerned about whatever else may be on the table that's supposed to be done.
So you're talking about really like when you're in the zone, right?
Yeah.
When you show up at your center and you are the party host and you can just be and facilitate all that, then you feel like an abundance of, you get to be with the people, talk to the people, all those things. Huh. Which one do you think you hoard? Which one do you think you're like, there's not enough of?
I don't know how to answer that.
I was deciding between two for you, so I can answer it for you if you'd like.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, realistically, don't you think that you kind of fluctuate between, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you fluctuate between time and money being the top, money being the winner. Because at the end of the day, I feel like, in order for you to be in that flow and with the people and able to do your thing, at some point it comes down to something else takes you away, that if you had more resources, whether it's money, time, people, you wouldn't have to deal with it and you'd be able to continue in what you're passionate about doing.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I would think for you it's money. I would think for me, you want to answer for me? You can.
No.
I would think for me it's time. Even though I kind of bust those timelines, by staying up till ridiculous hours trying to get everything done. But I think that's the story of what I say anyway. Anyway, that's what I would say.
That's interesting.
And I think the one I overflow most with is creativity. Whether that's...
What does that look like for you?
It looks all different ways. It doesn't really matter if I'm doing things I'm passionate about, like acting and those kind of things, or if I'm sitting in one of your meetings, identifying what the next party will look like, or having a creative idea about, well, why don't we just do it like this? Why don't we do that? I mean, I think the other day I went to the meeting. Here's a short sidetrack. I went to a meeting that I was like, why am I at this meeting? I didn't want to be there. All very, it's a very technical meeting in my opinion. And I was asked to be on this committee, and me and a lawyer were asked to be on the committee. And I'm like, not me. Somebody who's going to ask questions and, be able, because it's a very technical, strategical meeting about the next moves for Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm like, not me. And I got there late. And I got on and they had all checked in. And the question was, what do you bring to this meeting? They're like, Robin, would you like to answer what's your gift? What do you bring? So besides the fact that I was late, I wasn't grounded, I wasn't present. I was like, I'm not really grounded yet. I'm like, oh, good for you, Robin, that you took that moment. but nobody said, well, that's okay. Do it later. So I had to keep going. And what I ended up saying was something about I bring, the possibility of possibility, the infinite possibility, and not getting stuck in the way it's always been done or the way it should be. And, and I, to myself, oh, brother.
That's how woo-woo of me.
How woo, yeah, exactly. You know what? That's exactly what I thought. I thought, okay, whatever, here I am, just breathe and let it be. And as we're going through the meeting and they're talking back and forth and they're a little bit at odds with each other, somebody said, well, I really think it's time to embrace what Robin said and look at what's possible as opposed to, and I thought, okay, God, I got it. I got it, and it's like, so I think, it's that's what I'm best at, is this long answer to that question. And yes, very woo-woo. You can call me the queen of woo-woo if you'd like. I don't think I'm the queen though. I know there's more woo-woo than me.
Oh yeah.
But I will take princess.
Oh, you're a
Princess of woo-woo. Anyway, but there's still, as you know, that is where I thrive, right? I have an abundance of ideas. If you say to me, this isn't going to work, I go, okay, but wait, what if, and I come up with 5 ideas and then you need to take a nap.
That is true. That is true.
And so that's, I think, where my abundance and overflow really happens.
Okay, so I see what's going on now. I'm understood. I couldn't figure out why you were ignoring this. So Shay says, as someone who comes from scarcity consciousness upbringing and whose fridge is still sometimes bare, my abundance is in being grateful for what I actually do have. I never take anything for granted. I think that's really an accurate description for many of us, that we especially have to go to that place of what do I have, and even the simplest things like my dog has eaten most of my shoes, but I have a new pair of sandals and I needed that. I wanted that. And I have that. It's not a big deal. I have what I need. I have a shower. I have a razor. I have, those are all things. But, then we go beyond that to I have a warm and loving relationship. I have animals that comfort me and are always there with me. And I have a house and a yard and there's just so many aspects. I have work that I love. I have people that I love through that. I have, all these things, and all of that contributes. And sometimes we get focused on, as Shay was talking about, coming from that scarcity thing, we start focusing on what we think we don't have. And even, the refrigerator being bare, I've not experienced that exactly, but I know sometimes we think the refrigerator is bare until we start actually really looking. Because there's nothing that jumps out that we really want, per se, or that we realize was in the refrigerator, the freezer. And suddenly we have a meal that we popped out of stuff that we didn't realize was there, And I think that's the common thing in so many areas of our lives, that we look at it and we go, there's nothing here. But the reality is, if you start kind of picking through it, you go, well, thankfully, there's one of these and one of those and one of those. There's a lot of things here. My vision of nothing there is just my inability to see what's there, or my unwillingness to see, or my blockage to believing there's abundance.
Yeah, there's all of that. I mean, there's all of that. But let's go to the book for a minute.
Let's go to the book.
So we're going to be doing this book over the next 5 weeks. If any of you want to get it, it's called The 5 Gifts of Prosperity.
5 Gifts of an Abundant Life. 5 Gifts of an Abundant Life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking because when I was looking on Amazon, it had up 5 Gifts of Prosperity. Anyway. And it's by Diane Harmony. And, you know, because I want to talk about, like, the first week is about, what's it about? Gratitude.
Well, the first couple chapters, the first real chapter hits on gratitude. You know, it's about being grateful for all that is. And then it goes into intentions and forgiveness and different things. But gratitude is key to the beginning of realizing what gifts are available to us, what gifts are present. Because if we aren't grateful for what is, we can't see what's showing up, in my humble opinion, because we don't notice it. We don't think of it as anything, quote, special. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes total sense. And I'm just reading all these comments on the site. Yeah, it makes total sense. And it you know, it's, I think we're so complex too. Like, I feel like, along with what you were talking about a minute ago, like I was just reflecting on yesterday for us. So let me just say, Gil and I are not the best at finances, at keeping everything in order and systems and all of that. And I don't say that in a bad way. Sometimes we are, sometimes we aren't. But when there's not the finances to keep up with them, like when things aren't happening on a regular basis, and we can't get a system down, well, then the system is just thrown to the wind. So, you know, we spent the afternoon. We had a great talk, great time, talking about finances, where we needed to buckle up, what we were going to pay, how we were going to start saving here, doing this, doing that, you know, and that we only had this much money to spend at Costco for food, but that's fine. That's not a problem. You know, I mean, it wasn't, nothing was from a lack place. It was mostly from an organizational place. However, there was the awareness that there was boundaries. There should be boundaries on the spending so we can try to get different things paid off and paid down. And so we went to Costco because we were driving home and it was raining and we needed windshield wipers. And I was like, okay, we're in my mind. This is my inner dialogue. We got to find the balance in between what we need, what we should have, and taking care of ourselves, and not, you know, overspending and doing frivolous things. So I'm like, let's just go get windshield wipers at Costco. So we proceeded to go to Costco and get windshield wipers. And as he said, his pair of sandals, I got a couple pairs of sandals. We got, you know, whatever we walked out of there with, there was, you know, $90 later. And they were all things really that were about us and making us feel good. And I felt good about it. I did, though, because even though that wasn't in our equation, it was also that place of acknowledging our abundance and what is there for us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also moving out of the scarcity that, oh my gosh, if we spend any money, we are doomed. Because part of this is understanding that our needs are met So if our needs are met, then the fact that I'm looking forward going, well, I don't know where more money is coming from between now and here, so I have to figure out how to meet all these needs right now. And that is a limitation, because sometimes those I have to meet other needs that are happening now, and I have to allow for the fact that whatever is needed will be available by the time it's needed. You know?
And, I as I said yesterday, there's also that part where when acknowledging our abundance, we can't go into scarcity.
Right.
We've got to find that balance to really be able to, honor and trust, like, if the next bill's not due to the 10th, that there's going to be more by the 10th, as opposed to being like fearful. And Shay says, my entire budget is based solely on the fishes and loaves. There's no mathematical computation that explains what I'm able to procure. Amen, sister. Don't we know it? Don't we know it? And that, I think that's many of our stories.
That takes me way back to a spiritual lesson once that came through, that it's not that, walking in the knowingness of spirit and trusting and believing will make me rich, but people will look and go, how do they do that? Because like the loaves and fishes, we go, how did they do that? It's not a mathematical equation that we can write down. I love that statement. Thank you for that, Shay. There's no mathematical computation that explains what I'm able to procure.
Except, yes, I hear you and I get it, and I respectfully disagree on some level, and that because that's why we're here, is that what is abundance and how can we frame it? Because really, at the end of the day, abundance is our relationship with Source, right? With ourself, with what's possible. So on some level, Shay has to be able to show up and believe in fishes and loaves.
Right. Exactly.
And so, but that is, I know it's not logical, but there is, that's why manifestation and abundance is a practice on some level, because it's really about your ability to be connected to that vibration and openness, and the trust and flow of the divine in, as, and through you. And I don't mean to be woo-woo. But it's like, I can't explain it any other way, because when we don't believe it, it doesn't happen like that. It's like, and we begin not to see those little things that happen in our life, like, and so we got up this morning and got a call from our sister who said, let's do Thanksgiving in Hawaii. Don't worry about the money. Let's just figure out what it would cost and how to do it. That's part of that, as opposed to, and I think our tendency, our being the human hour, is to go, yeah, but I don't know how I could possibly do that, and I don't want anybody else to be paying for me, or I really should be able to do this now. Why can't I go out? Why can't I say yeah and pay for my own vacation? Why I'm a blah, right? And when we do that, we're out of alignment. We're out of alignment with divine, as opposed to going, thank you, yes, and let's go. Show me how. Show me what's next. Show me what I need, or whatever we want to manifest. You know what I mean? That's our connection to Source is our permission slip to receive more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's that concept of not looking at something and going and going. Well, it goes back to the how question, and I think that's one of those questions I ask a lot, especially around this kind of thing, is how are we going to do that? How is that going to happen? And it's not necessarily my job or your job or anyone's job to know how. It's our job to know what it is that we're supposed to be doing. I mean, to hear, to listen for what the direction is and to move in that direction, regardless of whether it makes any sense that, someone that somehow we could fund a vacation, or somehow we could take care of this over here. That's not the issue. The issue is, am I willing to walk in the direction that's being put before me? Am I willing to be open to what's possible?
Exactly. Am I willing to be awake and aware? And again, as I said, forget if we decide to go to Hawaii for a vacation, just the fact that we got a call with someone offering a possibility. Forget what really happens. It's about, are you willing to step into the possibility, right?
Right. Can we live into that, trusting that if it's meant to be, it shows up. If it's needed, it's there, because it's already there. If it's the thing, it's already taken care of.
Right.
And ultimately, there is enough, no matter how you look at it. There is enough. There's plenty for all.
There is, even when we wish there was more.
Or even when we wish that more of it resided with us. But the reality is, that's just a picture of us thinking that the apparent segmentation of wealth and abundance into individuals is the reality. And that's not really the reality of the abundance of spirit at all. The abundance of spirit exists far outside of individuals. So.
Yes. So we have come to the end of our show, and I'm not even sure how in depth we dove in the topic, but it was great to have you talking with us, Shay, and it definitely opens up a lot of questions about abundance and different ways of looking at it and things like that. And that's what we'll be exploring over the next month or so, because we never go just as long as we say. We always go longer. And there's so much to talk about. So
it's because we're so abundant.
There you go. So we know we have an abundance of time and possibility. So if you want to join us on this journey, you can get this book on Amazon. You can get it in a used copy that will take a little bit to get to you, but it'll get to you nonetheless. And we will be sending out, if you want to be on our list, put your email in the chat, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching later, we'll get it. Put your email in there, and we'll be sending out, some affirmations and worksheets and all kinds of different things to share with you all. So take this journey with us, whether you buy the book or not. Come back and see what it's all about. You have anything else you want to say?
No, I think we're good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate it. Like us. Go to see things. Check the boxes. Tell your friends.
Do the thing. Yeah.
We appreciate it.
And most of all, if you really like us, please donate to New Thought Media Network, because that's what makes all of this possible. And, as Shay said in her Tom Cruise vibration, show me the money. Show me the money, and our producer would really love that if you showed us the money. Aw, Shay, thank you. And you guys are all our prosperity as well. It's great to see you out there, even you quiet ones that don't talk, that we don't ever know who you are, but you sometimes like us, and even you quiet ones that say to us sometime when you see us, oh, I listened to your show. We appreciate it. We love you. And we just want you to know and remember that abundance is a practice. It's not a possession. It's a way of showing up to life and opening our hearts and our minds and all of those things. And as we move into this journey of the 5 gifts, we'll just keep exploring how prosperity really isn't something that we chase. It's something that we cultivate. So let's cultivate it together, and then we'll all be able to show the money, among other magnanimous, wonderful things. So see you next week, right here on Rockin The Love. And in the meantime, everybody, you know what to do. Rock the love, everybody. Bye.
Bye.